Which video game adaptations were originally slated for the silver screen? What award-winning family drama was almost a movie about octuplets? Check out which TV shows were originally planned to be movies. The gunslinging bounty hunter from a galaxy far, far away had a tumultuous journey before finally landing on the Disney streaming service. Shortly after Disney acquired Lucasfilm and, by extension, the Star Wars franchise, the company announced spin-off films telling stories adjacent to the original Star Wars saga. Boba Fett was initially supposed to be one of those projects. Originally, Josh Trank, the director of Chronicle, and the catastrophic box office bomb that was 2015's Fantastic Four, pitched his version of a Boba Fett narrative to Lucasfilm. The studio was enthusiastic about his ideas and announced his admission to the Star Wars family, with Trank set to direct the Boba Fett standalone production. After the failure and drama that spun out of Fantastic Four, Trank quit the project, understanding that he'd probably be fired if he didn't drop out himself. Eventually, the project landed in the hands of Logan director James Mangold, but a certain famous fictional smuggler seemingly ruined plans for Boba Fett's big-screen feature. The prequel film Solo, A Star Wars Story, which chronicled Han Solo's younger days picking fights with gangsters and the Empire, was considered a financial disappointment upon its release. Disney's focus shifted toward their new streaming service, where The Mandalorian became a flagship series for the service's debut. Thanks to that show's success, plans for Boba Fett's own series quickly followed, and the rest is history. George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire novels are now as well known as Tolkien's Middle-earth fantasy thanks to the additional popularity that the HBO series Game of Thrones brought to the books. For years, Martin had been courted by scriptwriters who eagerly wanted to share their version of Martin's fantasy world in live-action cinema. Like a King's Landing not fit for the Dragon Queen's world, he scorched these ideas to ash and cinder. According to Entertainment Weekly in 2011, Martin claimed that his book series was simply unfilmable, despite visions of the contrary attempting to sell him on the idea. The author stated, "Even Tolkien took 3 feature films, and 3 Tolkien novels are as long as one of my books." Martin also noted that after giving a feature film idea some thought, he felt that his works were simply too mature. After all, sex and violence saturate the entire narrative.
Be quick about it.
Eventually, David Benioff and D.B. Weiss approached Martin and proposed adapting his books into a series. Since the show would land on HBO, the mature content was no longer a problem. Furthermore, Benioff and Weiss could take all the time they needed to build out the story over several seasons, depending on the show's popularity. After reaching an accord with Martin on the direction of the series, film ideas were finally put to rest. The White Wolf, better known as Geralt of Rivia, has long been a mainstay of the fantasy genre. Andrzej Sapkowski created the fabled Witcher and authored a collection of stories surrounding his exploits before writing a sprawling saga. The Witcher, known for his combat prowess, keen senses, and hunting acuity, is capable of slaying the most dangerous of monsters in the wilds. Geralt is often embroiled in the warring politics, evil machinations, and drama of the most prominent characters to populate the land. Netflix was always a prime destination for The Witcher to receive a proper live-action outing. Although the character had appeared in a few well-received video games made by Polish game developer CD Projekt Red, fans were chomping at the bit to see Geralt realized in cinematic glory. The Witcher was originally going to receive a standalone Netflix film, but creatives behind the scenes convinced the producers that there was far too much material to cover in just 2 hours. Convinced that the property deserved more, they got the green light to move forward with a Netflix original series. Mr. Robot was a massive hit for the USA Network. Centered around a mentally unwell cybersecurity expert named Elliot, the series deals with hacktivism and political issues of all kinds. It received high praise from both critics and audiences along the way, winning 3 Emmys, 2 Golden Globes, and a Peabody Award.
I respect that about you.
However, many likely don't realize that Mr. Robot was originally intended to be an independently produced feature film. In an interview with Forbes, series creator Sam Esmail discussed his creative journey. Esmail stated, "When I saw it as a movie, I knew where I was going. I knew the ending. The problem was that he simply had more material than he knew what to do with." Esmail continued, "When I got to page 90 and I was still halfway through Act 1, that's when I decided, okay, this can be a television show." The showrunners still tackled the series like a movie production, treating each episode as if it were a short film. Ultimately, Esmail still achieved what he set out to do with the narrative he'd originally planned. Sure, the fiery vigilante of Hell's Kitchen already received a big screen adaptation in 2003, with Ben Affleck taking on the role of the blind lawyer Matt Murdock. However, the Netflix Daredevil series was also originally envisioned and pitched as a film by series creator Drew Goddard. Goddard explained why the film approach ultimately didn't pan out in an interview with IGN. Marvel nixed the idea, believing that Goddard's approach was far too dark and violent. Marvel simply wouldn't do an R-rated film. Furthermore, Daredevil is typically seen as a local hero, interested primarily in cleaning the streets of his own neighborhood. That wouldn't gel with the large-scale epics of the MCU. Instead, Daredevil landed on Netflix, with Goddard free to produce his far more mature take on the character. Goddard, who'd previously stated that anything short of his adult vision would be inadequate, was certainly pleased with this outcome. Believe it or not, The Sopranos was originally destined for theaters. Imagine seeing James Gandolfini's Tony Soprano on the silver screen. It would have been a sight to behold. However, this hypothetical film wouldn't have been the cultural landmark that The Sopranos series was across its 6 seasons. According to series co-creator David Chase, the show was conceived as a film and pitched as such from the get-go. However, Chase's manager at the time, Lloyd Braun, suggested that his idea could actually be a television series. Chase gave it some thought and began to wrap his mind around the mobster's life as an ongoing series. The scope of his pitch changed, but only enough to cover season 1, ending with Tony confronting his mother over trying to kill him. Chase understood this moment as the end of their tormented relationship, and the second season had to work with fresh ideas beyond the scope of Chase's original plan. In the end, of course, Chase produced one of the best TV dramas in history, which won 21 Emmys and 5 Golden Globes during its time on the air.
I'm honored just to be considered.
The winding family drama This Is Us likes to toy with viewers' emotions. The story follows the Pearson clan and their 3 children who are depicted at various ages, but primarily as adults. They experience many of life's greatest joys and heartaches. After all, the Pearsons and many other supporting characters reflect many facets of American society. While the series has proved to be one of the most successful dramas in modern television, it wasn't always meant to depict the same family that we know today. In an interview with Emmy Magazine, series creator Dan Fogelman revealed some juicy details regarding the origins of the show. Instead of Randall, Kate, and Kevin as the big 3, Fogelman originally penned an 80-page film featuring a Pearson family with octuplets. Ultimately, Fogelman decided that he didn't want to follow a traditional narrative trajectory with a beginning, middle, and end. He wanted to explore a lasting story that continuously unfolded in the past, present, and future of a single family. The character-driven nature of the show has proved successful, engaging audiences and critics alike. Let's just be thankful that we didn't have to follow the chaotic lives of octuplets.
Dumb luck.
In 2020, The Queen's Gambit took the streaming world by storm with a thrilling period piece based on the 1983 novel by Walter Tevis. The Netflix miniseries centers around Beth Harmon, portrayed by Anya Taylor-Joy. As an orphaned youth, she becomes obsessed with and shows a talent for chess, eventually developing a drug addiction to help her focus on her game and cope with personal loss. The series chronicles her rise to fame in the chess world. The Queen's Gambit novel had long been examined for a possible feature film adaptation. In fact, the late actor Heath Ledger, himself something of a chess connoisseur, was planning on making his directorial debut with an adaptation of the novel before he tragically passed away. The project was halted upon Ledger's death and was eventually pitched to Netflix as a miniseries. Fans of the original Archie comics likely never suspected that it would eventually be adapted for the small screen in live action. The television series on the CW network, titled Riverdale, features the exploits of the famous Archie Comics teenagers, including Archie Andrews, Betty Cooper, Jughead Jones, and Veronica Lodge. Positioned as a teen drama, Riverdale goes big on its mystery themes and has enjoyed a lasting legacy on the CW network with its deliciously dark tones. Of course, Archie almost found himself on the big screen. Warner Brothers sought an adaptation of the character on film. The creatives behind the TV series originally had their idea dismissed and were asked to work on Archie's first ever live-action appearance in a time-traveling story featuring Louis C.K. of all people as the iconic high schooler. The studio imagined a Riverdale filled with portals that would open up to other dimensions. That was just a little too wacky, a bit too much like a live-action Rick and Morty. Thankfully, Riverdale show creator Robert Aguirre Sacasa didn't like that idea. He walked away from the whole ordeal, only to be contacted later by the studio to commit his original vision to television. Like the bounty-hunting Boba Fett, Jedi Master Extraordinaire Obi-Wan Kenobi was once set to return to the big screen in his own film. After Solo, A Star Wars Story, didn't exactly gain the financial returns Lucasfilm and Disney were looking for, their approach shifted focus. The streaming service Disney Plus changed the game for Lucasfilm, giving Ewan McGregor a chance to reprise his role on the streaming platform.
Hello there.
In fact, both Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen are set to reprise their prequel film roles in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. The show offers fans the chance to finally see what Obi-Wan has been up to for all those lonesome years in the desert wilderness of Tatooine. While his top goal is to protect Luke Skywalker, it seems that much more went on behind the scenes that Luke could have ever possibly imagined. As a live-action production, the popular video game property Halo has been through development hell and back. Aside from smaller productions like Forward Unto Dawn and Nightfall, a true blue Halo film with Master Chief positioned as the lead has been in the works as far back as 2005. Alex Garland, known for Ex Machina and Annihilation, was hired by Microsoft to write an adaptation of the series for the silver screen. Guillermo del Toro was attached to direct, but ran for the exit when he decided to head up Hellboy 2: The Golden Army. The project eventually bounced over to District 9 creator Neil Blomkamp, but a tug-of-war over creative control between Fox, Universal, and Microsoft resulted in the project being shelved. Halo once again entered the live-action spotlight with the announcement of a TV series in 2013, with Steven Spielberg attached as a producer. News emerged that the series was being developed for Showtime. After going through several producers and directors, the show was shifted to Paramount+, where it made its debut in March 2022. Now, Halo has received the renewed attention it deserves in the live-action space, although that might be up for debate among longtime fans. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more Looper videos about your favorite shows are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.